Today, we're headed to a city that's often overshadowed by places like New York, Chicago, and San Francisco. But honestly, Seattle might be one of America's most underrated cities. When most people think Seattle, they think coffee, rain, and maybe the Space Needle and that gorgeous mountain, Mount Rainier. But Seattle is much more than that. Welcome to Talk Travel with Samantha, the show that helps you travel smarter, vacation harder, and maybe even discover a destination you never knew belonged on your bucket list. I'm Samantha, your host of Talk Travel with Samantha, powered by Fabulous Adventures Travel, and today let's talk about my latest find, Seattle. Seattle is a city where mountains meet the ocean, where you can eat some of the freshest seafood on earth. You can, not me, because I don't eat seafood. Watch seaplanes land in the harbor, visit the original Starbucks, and hop aboard a ferry that feels like a mini cruise. Today we're uncovering Seattle's hidden gems, the attractions worth your time, and what locals actually do for fun, and why this Pacific Northwest city should move way up on your travel list. So grab your passport or at least your coffee and let's go. Let's start with the biggest myth. Seattle is not always rainy. So I have to be honest, I was super petrified by this because I've always heard that it's uber rainy. So I was like, what the heck? We got to bring all of our rain clothes. We've got to have umbrellas. We got to have rain jackets. And when we landed, there was a thin cloud cover, no rain. But it did start to sprinkle when we first got out of the hotel. And I was like, eek, it's going to rain. But strangely enough, it just didn't. It was just cloudy, which, listen, I know that happens, but I also heard that it was a very rainy city. So in my head, I was like, it's totally going to rain, but it didn't. So it's true. Seattle gets more cloudy days than rainy days. So yes, you'll probably see some gray skies like I did, right? But when you get in return is one of the most beautiful cities in America. And that is 100% true. I was 1000% shocked about Seattle. Like, I expected to go in just kind of being like, it's all right, whatever, fine, who cares? But I actually really, really liked the city. So let me tell you about some of the cool things that we did. Some of them were not touristy. Some of them were uber touristy. They were probably things you can do in any city. But I will tell you some of the cool things that we saw, which I thought was really cool. So the cool things that you get there, obviously, are the Puget Sound, Mount Rainier. Oh my gosh, that mountain is gorgeous. So like I told you, when we flew in, it was kind of funny. The captain was like, if you're on the left side of the plane, you'll be able to see Mount Rainier. And I was like, okay, great. I'm on the left side. Woo! And like, I'm like this, I'm on the left side. And then I look out the window and I was like, oh, where is it? I don't see it. But I'm thinking to myself, I don't know how big this thing is because honestly, I've never looked it up. I have no idea what the size is of this mountain. So I didn't know what to expect. So I'm looking out there. By the way, I'm in the middle seat too. So imagine me being this person that's like, trying to look over this poor guy's shoulder next to me. He's like, can this girl stop? Because she's driving me crazy. But thankfully, he was a pretty cool dude. So I'm looking out the window. I'm looking for this mountain. We end up touching ground. And I was like, I never saw it. So I think because of all the clouds, obviously it was a bit hard to find. I'm sure he saw it, the captain in the front row seats, but I did not see it. And don't get me wrong, obviously I was looking through a tiny window from the middle seat and trying to see, over this poor guy's shoulder. So the cool thing that happened was the next morning, I didn't see it the whole morning because I'm trying to think I think there was just buildings in the way, and we actually stayed at a great hotel. So we'll talk about that in a minute. But the cool thing was that we get on the ship and we're sailing away, and I still hadn't had a chance to really see it because I think there was another ship in my way, thinking the direction of where it was and where my cabin was. And we start to sail away, and sure enough, there it was. And I was like, oh my gosh, it's majestic. It's beautiful. Like, it was gorgeous. It was still snow-capped. It was just gorgeous. And I was surprised at how low the snow was on there. It just was an absolutely gorgeous mountain. I was actually just surprised, very, very surprised at how beautiful it was and how big it was. Honestly, I was like, oh, because you hear all the stories, right, about it, and I've never been. So I've never actually been to Seattle. That was my first time. And I honestly had no idea what I was looking for, what it's going to look like. And by the way, I've lived in California. I know what mountains look like. I know how, I lived in Palm Springs. That mountain's huge right there. That one that, the tram goes up and down. If you've ever been to Palm Springs, which we should have an episode on Palm Springs because, I just love it. You should put that on your list. I don't think people visit Palm Springs enough. But anyway, so yeah, it's just beautiful. I was shocked at how gorgeous it was. And it was just breathtaking. So back to what they have over there, right? The Puget Sound, Mount Rainier, the Olympic Mountains, Lake Washington, and Lake Union, all surrounding one city. All of that gorgeous, amazing forest and nature and all that goodness are surrounding one city. And the city is a true city. I guess, like I said, I don't know what I expected it to be, but I also love the fact that it was so walkable and livable, and there was people everywhere. And it wasn't like New York City where it's just a ton of people, but it was, don't get me wrong, it was busy, but it was just, I can't even explain it. It was quaint and city-like at the same time. I know that's like an oxymoron. It doesn't even make sense, but it does, because that's exactly what it was. It was like, it felt like home, yet it felt like a city. So if you've ever wanted to live in a city but not feel like a big city like New York City, Seattle's it. It was great. So imagine looking out from downtown and seeing snow-capped mountains, like I said, on the horizon. That's Seattle. It's outdoorsy without being rugged. It's sophisticated without feeling pretentious. That is so 100% true. And somehow it manages to feel like a major city in a small town at the same time. And that's exactly how I felt, 100%, which I love that. So let's talk about the tourist attractions. Obviously the Given, right? There's the Given Space Needle. I will tell you that we did not do it because for me, while the first day that we were there, the weather was not good, and I don't think it would have been great to go up to the Space Needle and enjoy it because just would not have been the view. The second day, the weather was phenomenal. The clouds had cleared, the sun was out. It was just gorgeous. So I would say if you're spending some time in Seattle, make sure that you kind of wait for that day. Don't book it ahead of time. I don't know how busy it was there. We walked by it a couple times and it didn't seem that busy, the Space Needle. So maybe you can just walk up and get tickets, but we did not do it. We actually walked right by it several times. It's not my thing, only because, we flew in on a plane. What else am I going to see? I don't know. That's terrible. But if heights, you love to see things from up there, I'm sure the view is just magnificent. I can't imagine. It's got to be gorgeous. I will tell you, there's also a Ferris wheel down on one of the piers, and it's like a Seattle Eye. I'm not sure if that's actually what they call it, but it is a giant Ferris wheel. And you could probably see a lot of things from there as well. And we stayed, I know this is a lot of information I'm throwing at you and not in order, but we stayed at the W Hotel the second time through. We stayed at the W, and that was more midtown. And they actually give us a free pass to the Ferris wheel. So worth it, I guess. They had a bunch of stuff, honestly, that we didn't end up doing. I like to do my own thing. I know I've mentioned this before, that I like to wander. I try not to overplan things. You hear this or that, the other thing, and then I go to those things that you hear about, but I also like to wander and stumble upon things. So obviously, the Space Needle is an option because that's evident. It sticks right out, bright yellow, lovely, large obstruction. But the other one that everyone just loves is Pike Place, right? So Pike Place Market, that was not far. So let me start by saying that when we went in, because I went to Seattle prior to the cruise. So let me just start out by saying that. So we had the one night before and the one night after. Normally I don't stay after on a cruise, but the way that the flights worked out this time I did. And we stayed at the Marriott Harbor Waterside Hotel right there, right on the water. Honestly, it was a great resort. They had shuttles to and from the port. So if you are taking a cruise, definitely worth it because they do have shuttles to the cruise ports and piers. And it was super close. Like one of them you could actually walk to. That's how close it was. So, and I think that was Norwegian's pier. Anyways, back to Pike Place Market. So Pike Place Market was walkable, but I will tell you that Seattle is actually very hilly. Didn't see that coming. Not that it matters, but if walking isn't, easy for you, then I would say that this is going to be a little bit difficult because the hills are very, very steep, some of them. So we had to go up a couple really big hills just to get to the top of the street. I think it's on First Ave, if I remember correctly, and just walk down that and right straight to Pike Place Market. I mean, it was so stinking close. So we walked to Pike Place Market, and it's not just a market. You're probably like, I don't want to go shopping. Well, there's definitely shopping, but it is so interesting and it's so busy. I just couldn't not see it. I mean, and honestly, all of the, tourists go there. It was probably filled with tourists. And it'd be interesting to know how many tourists it's filled with versus locals. So that'd be really interesting to know, but it was packed. So this place isn't just a market, it's an experience, right? They have fresh seafood, they have handmade crafts, they have local artists, they have street performers, they have incredible bakeries, and we'll talk about the bakery in a second, which stinks because I don't have the name of the bakery. Let me see if I can find it. It was right next to Il Bistro, which is an Italian place. It's an Italian market that was right there, and they had the best chocolate chip cookie ever. And I am always on the hunt for great chocolate chip cookies. So they had the best chocolate chip cookies. So it was funny because it was an Italian market right there, right? And you see all the Italian stuff in there. So it had a bakery, it had cheeses and olives and wine. There was a wine shop upstairs. It had coffee everywhere, like pasta, anything you would think of in this Italian market you could find, right? Well, they had like the bakery in there. And so I walk in and I see these chocolate chip cookies, and I am always on the hunt for a good chocolate chip cookie. So I walk up and I was like, I'll take the most Italian thing in here. And she was like, I go, I'll take the most Italian thing in here. And she says, and I said, do you know what it is? And she says, something in Italian, some Italian cookie name, I'm sure, or something, or maybe it was even coffee. And I go, nope, chocolate chip cookie. And she started laughing so hard because clearly a chocolate chip cookie isn't very Italian. It's very American. So she ends up giving me the chocolate chip cookie. I'm not even kidding you. It was one of the best chocolate chip cookies I've ever had. I'm still dreaming about it. I'm telling you right now. So go back to the Italian market right there at Pike Place. It's right on the corner, and it has a wine shop, and it was near Il Bistro, right near Il Bistro, and it was across the way from No Boundaries Cafe. So check those out because it was right there. But anyways, oh my gosh, that place was unreal. I wish I lived in Seattle just to go there every day. The flowers, first of all, if I could have brought flowers on the ship, I would have, because the bouquets of flowers were unreal. They were absolutely beautiful, perfect, well done, and cheap. They were like $20 a bouquet, and they were huge. I was like, oh my gosh, I wish that I could totally take one of these. So the coolest part that everyone talks about is, of course, the famous fish throwers. The first time that we went there, I didn't get to see it because I ran off to another bakery that had chocolate chip cookies while apparently they were throwing fish. So I was so bummed that the rest of my party saw it and I did not. I was like, are you freaking kidding me that you saw that and I missed it? So I made them go back the next day because I was like, I am not missing any fish throwers. They 100% throw fish. It's a little crazy. So when someone buys the fish, they'll pick it up and throw it into the inside of the shop. And then that's where they weigh it and, wrap it up and give it to the guest. So you have to wait for someone to really come by to buy something before they start throwing fish. So it's a really cool experience. And even cooler, I will say, is that you can buy, like, depending on which, fish shop you go to, you can buy some of the fish and send it back home. So you can send it to your house. So the crab were massive. The lobsters were huge. I was blown away by this. I was like, what the heck? I don't eat any of that. We all know because I say it all the time. So definitely 100% check out the fish throwers. It's really, really cool. So, but here's a little secret that most tourists don't go past that first main aisle. So there's lower levels, there's hidden shops, there's quirky shops. I mean, we went all around that thing. We were downstairs, upstairs, around in the back corner. It was really, really cool. So take your time, enjoy it, walk through it. We ended up at a really cool bar called The Alibi. They claim to have the best pizza. I'll be honest, we didn't have the pizza, but when we did a Google search for good pizza, they actually did pop up. So maybe they do have the best pizza. But they were super cool in there and kind of talked to us. They asked us where we were from, and, we chatted with them and everything. And The Alibi is a bar that's right outside the infamous gum wall. So I wasn't so sure that I wanted to see the gum wall, but I feel like it's one of those things that if you're there, you might as well see it. And yes, you did hear me right. It's a gum wall. It has people's disgustingly chewed gum right on the wall. It's awesome. Not really. I have to say it was pretty gross, but but we saw it and we were there. And I will tell you, I did not leave my DNA on the wall. So I just observed this time. I did not participate. So there was no DNA left on the wall. I honestly would have had to have found a spot where to just kind of maneuver it in where I didn't touch anything else. But that was not going to happen. It's pretty well gummed up. So yeah, there was no gum added to the gum wall. So that is right there in Pike Place. I will be honest. It's kind of hidden. We almost didn't find it. We happenstanced upon it. Like we literally happened to go upon it. We happened to fall upon it. So that's kind of cool, which is how we then happened to fall upon Alibi. So a great little bar and restaurant there. Hidden. Little bar and restaurant hidden. The other thing that's there that they're very, touristy and well known for is the original Starbucks. Everybody loves a Starbucks. Strangely enough, I don't even drink coffee and I'm not a coffee fanatic, but it was cool to kind of see what looked like paper letters up above the actual place. So that was kind of cool to see that, I will say, because, of course it's no longer just a little Pike Place, spot. So it's kind of interesting. So I have to say that it was not, we didn't go in, there was none of that, but there's people all over the place. So back to Pike Place just a little bit more. There is so much around there. So if you are stopping in just for a little bit, or you may need something that's not, artisan or food. I should have left. I totally forgot to tell you. So when we went back the second time, we had the cherries from Mount Rainier. Oh, they're so good. They're so good. The cherries are so good. So if you go during cherry season, get them. They were delicious. We just, grabbed a bunch and paid for them and they were awesome. So that was really, really cool. Now let's get to the good stuff. The things visitors miss. Take a ferry ride. One of Seattle's best attractions costs less than many tourist activities. So hop on the Washington State Ferry. Seriously, the views back toward the skyline are incredible. This ferry goes back and forth. I actually saw it at night. We didn't hop on it because, of course, we were getting on a cruise and we saw all of that on the cruise. So it's kind of seeing the same thing, I have to be honest. But you'll see mountains, islands, sailboats, seaplanes, bald eagles. I know that's kind of weird, but I will tell you that as we were sailing away, there was a bald eagle flying over our ship. It was the coolest thing. So check that out, because you don't have to be on a cruise, but if you are going on a cruise, I will be honest, you don't need to do that. If you're not going on a cruise, take the ferry ride because it's super cool. You can watch seaplanes on Lake Union. Seattle has one of the busiest seaplanes hubs in the country. So grab a lunch on the waterfront and watch planes take off and land. Of course, it's just beautiful. I just think seaplanes, honestly, when I watch them, I'm like fascinated. I'm like, how do they do that? Obviously I know how they do that, but it is fascinating. And I love how low they fly all the time. So I think that's really, really cool. I also think it's interesting to watch them take off, because I always say that if it isn't glass, I don't know that I would ever get in a seaplane. Trust me, I've been in plenty of planes and plenty of wonky planes, but the seaplane I think would be super, super cool. But I think I'd want it to be glass because I feel like you'd just be bouncing like as you take off. It'd be like crazy. So anyways, go to Lake Union, watch the seaplanes. Kerry Park. Want the postcard view of Seattle? This is it. Most visitors never go. So it's where photographers capture those famous skyline shots with Mount Rainier in the background. If Rainier is visible, you'll never forget the view. So head over to Kerry Park and get that shot. Now there's also an underground Seattle tour. So part of Seattle is literally buried beneath the city. So after a major fire in the 1800s, Seattle rebuilt above portions of the original streets. You can still explore sections of the old underground city today. It's fascinating and a little spooky. So I bet you can find that on Viator. So look for the underground Seattle tour. So let's talk about what to eat in Seattle. I have to tell you, we had an amazing meal the last night. The first night, because we did a little bar hopping and bar crawling, we actually were getting a little non-touristy. We tried to get into Flight Club. Jeez Louise, Flight Club. And Flight Club is a darts bar, basically. And it's really, really cool because they count for you. You don't have to play these games. And it's almost like darts on steroids. It's really, really cool. Or darts, upscale. new darts, not the old school where you're just hitting numbers and playing 301 and all that stuff. This is like games like on a TV or whatnot. So we went to Flight Club, but what happened was they ended up being closed. So we ended up just kind of walking back to our hotel from there, and we just kind of ate and drank as we went down the line. So that was really cool. So I would say that the meal, I'm going to be honest, was not the greatest the first time we stayed there, but the second meal was phenomenal. That second meal we ate at the Pink Door, and I'm not kidding. If you love Italian food, get a reservation. Listen to me very carefully and thank me later. Eat at the Pink Door. Get a reservation and ask them to sit outside, because the views and the weather, as long as it's nice, obviously, phenomenal. The food is unreal there. It's Italian. We had the pappardelle bolognese. Oh my goodness. There's a carbonara as well. Phenomenal. And there's this bread, the fettuccine bread. I know it sounds like I'm saying tuna, but it's like feta tuna. You'll see it. It's FETUTNA, something like that. Feta tuna, something like that. Bread, phenomenal. It's a garlic bread, basically. 1000% eat at the Pink Door. We fell upon it. I actually looked it up where to eat outside. I was trying to eat outside because the weather was just gorgeous, and the weather is not gorgeous in Orlando right now. So I was dying to eat outside. And so this place popped up. Well, we didn't even know what it was. And by the way, it's uber hidden. Like there's no name on it. Like it's the craziest thing, but it definitely is a Pink Door. So follow the instructions on how to get there. Look for the Pink Door and walk in, because you'll find it. So the food that they're known for, obviously, is seafood, right? So seafood is what they're known for. Salmon, halibut, oysters, Dungeness crab. If it swims, Seattle probably serves it in the best version you'll ever eat. So chowder, they're really good at chowder. So Seattle takes their chowder seriously. Everyone has a favorite, and everyone will tell you what theirs is. Coffee, obviously. They're probably all trying to outdo or become the next Starbucks. So get all the coffee. There's there's like Seattle's best now. There's all kinds of coffee over there. So a local tip, try a Seattle style hot dog. Cream cheese on the hot dog sounds strange, but trust me, just try it. Everyone says to try it. As I mentioned, I was there twice. I spent the night before the cruise and the night after. The first time we did all the touristy things of just walking around and just enjoying the walking. And if you are able, it's just a great walk. You can literally walk everywhere. The second time we did a little bit more, we had a little bit more fun and did more touristy things that work everywhere. So we did go back to Pike Place for like a moment. That's where we ate. So the Pink Door is right there by Pike Place. But we actually did an escape room there, and it was so much fun. It was called Prison Break. We had the best time. I wouldn't say that was the best use of our Seattle time, but it just is what we wanted to do. And we did what we wanted to do, right? We also did Flight Club too that time. So super fun. Even with my frozen shoulder, I threw with my left hand, which might make me dart ambidextrous. But we had a really, really, really good time. So we did that. And then, like I said, we ate at the Pink Door. I'm trying to think what else. Oh, the two hotels that we stayed at were the W Hotel and the Marriott Harborside. So those are great hotels and great locations. Really, really good. We also ate at Din Tai Fung. If you've never eaten at Din Tai Fung, that is not local to Seattle, I will tell you, it is a chain restaurant that started in Southern California. Oh my goodness. If you love Asian food and you love dumplings and jiao bao long, I think is how you say it. Please forgive me if I totally messed that up. That's a soup dumpling I was trying to say. But if you love that stuff, don't miss Din Tai Fung. It was amazing. So with that, thank you so much for joining me about Seattle this week. I love Seattle. I really just fell in love with it. And I think it's not just a city, it's a feeling. It's coffee shops on misty mornings and ferry crossings, sparkling water, snow-capped mountains in the distance, fresh seafood on the waterfront, and a skyline that somehow feels both modern and timeless. If Seattle isn't on your travel list yet, it should be. So thank you so much for joining me on another episode of Talk Travel with Samantha, powered by Fabulous Adventures Travel. I am Samantha, and you can find me at www.talktravelwithsamantha.com. So please let me know if you've been in Seattle. Let me know what I missed. Tell me all the good things, and let me know if you want me to help get you there, because we would be happy to send you to Seattle. So until next time, travel smarter, vacation harder, and see you next episode.